this is what happens when you come to do a bathroom refurb that you think is going to be fairly straightforward, and it's not, because you've got to sort all this lot out. But as I always say, it's real world plumbing. So then, this video is a complete start to finish, step by step of a bathroom renovation. It's one that I've done maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and I filmed it over 4 parts. Whereas what I've done with this video is I've put it all into one long form content video, because I did this a while ago, a few weeks ago, and people seem to like it. They could sit down and see the whole process from start to finish. So hope you enjoy it. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop me a comment below, let me know what you think. And if you're an existing subscriber to the channel, you may have seen 1 or 2 parts of this, or you may have seen the last one. This is the complete step-by-step guide of this bathroom remodel and renovation. So enjoy it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you soon. So we're about to start a new job, a job that has been in the pipeline for me for probably 4 or 5 months. It's for a customer that I've done work with for 20 plus years. Even before I went on my own, a company I worked for, we did work for this guy who is an architect, he's retired now, and they've just moved into one of their houses that they had, and they're completely renovating it. And it's nice as well, because we can park the van right next to the front door. It's always handy we can get right up close. So let me take you in and show you what we're here to do in sort of part 1 of the whole renovation of this house. So to begin with, so it is a Tuesday morning, and it is, so it's first thing Tuesday morning, it's freezing outside, and there's meant to be a load of builders here, but they're not here because obviously you can't lay bricks when it's -4 or 5 or whatever it is. Right, phase 1 of this job, we're having a new bathroom. So we're here today to take this whole bathroom out completely. Toilet, bidet, or foot washer, whatever you want to call them. Obviously basin, vanity, everything's coming out. Bath's coming out. What we're going to be doing is completely retiling all the way around here. From memory, I have to double check, from memory, these tiles, because there's a slight curve in the wall here, Nath, my tiler, says he can tile up to here. So all that's going to be tiled. Obviously new bath, a P-shaped bath going in to allow a bit more room for the shower. They're just having a shower over the bath. And what we're going to do, we're going to get rid of the bidet, we're going to shift the basin down slightly, bring the toilet across to sort of here, and then what they're doing in this area here is having like a wardrobe sort of thing within the bathroom, with keeping the towel rail in there, etc, etc. So we're just going to be battening down from here and across the floor as if that was in, and working everything out and putting a new bathroom in. So what we've got to do first off, get some tools in and begin ripping this bathroom out. So as I've said, this is sort of phase 1 of this job. We're just doing the bathroom, but let me take you around the back and it'll explain why there's so much building work going on. They're having, I haven't even seen it for a while, they're having a big back extension took from the back of the house. Let's pop up these ladders and see if we can see a little bit more. See if we can see a little bit more. So yeah, this is coming off the back of the house, and what they're going to do is take this bit out of the roof and come across with it, so they're going to have another bathroom basically back to back with where that one is there. So we're coming out, we're going to put another bathroom here. I think there's an ensuite going here, kitchen, new kitchen going down there, so we've got to put all the pipe work and everything in for that when it gets to that point. But for now, we're just here to get that new bathroom in. So let's get in there, get the old one ripped out. So just loaded some gear in, got my tools out, got set up. First thing I always do when I do a bathroom is take the door off. This one is that old, it's got the old slotted screws in. What a nightmare to try and get off. This middle one, there we go, it's coming now. Nightmare. Slotted screws, mate. Bane of my life, these. Whoever invented slotted screws needs shooting. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the removal of just a normal bathroom suite. The first thing I always do whenever I come to a bathroom is take the door off. Now this one has been a pain because it's the old slotted screws. Just getting 6 screws out of a door frame has probably took me the best part of 10 minutes just to get the door off. But we crack on. But yeah, as I say, all these tiles are coming off. Everything's coming out. So first thing we're going to do though is go down and turn the main off. Nobody is living in this house for probably the next 6 or 7 weeks while that extension's going up. So it makes life a little bit easier because I can turn the water off. This stop tap down there. I can get the water off and leave it off overnight. I'll be back tomorrow to begin first fixing it and getting the pipe working, but I just wanted to get the bathroom ripped out today. So let's, if it'll turn off. Oh, that's all right. It's got, because this has got a meter, not that you can see it, it's got just a little butterfly valve on the top. So we'll shut that off and go and drain the water down. It's on a combi. Let's push that back down. So it's on a combi, so just shut the main off and it will shut the hot off as well. So let's get it drained down. And luckily, as I said, the builders aren't in today, so they're not going to need any water. But I will get the water back on tonight because there's an outside tap that they're obviously using to mix their muck up and whatnot. So with the water off, we can now open up all the taps and get it drained down. So I find when doing a bathroom is to just get it as clear as possible, and then you can start by having a good run at it. So I've put a couple of tubs in the bath, but when I'm knocking the tiles off, they go straight in the tubs as opposed to nailing them all off into the bath and then having to scoop them out the bath into your buckets to take downstairs. So that's how I do it. It just saves a lot of faffing around. Now, I can't remember who it was, used to always comment on my videos whenever I've done a bath rip out. I never used to wear goggles and I never used to wear gloves. So today I've consciously gone, right, I'm going to put my goggles on just because someone's bound to come at me in the comments. I can't remember who it was. He used to always say, you only get one pair of eyes. So now I'm going to get a load of comments saying I look like Harry Hill with my Unilight safety goggles on. 25% off. Use code MJTIF. See, always thinking. Right, I always use, again, I get so many comments on what I use to knock tiles off with. I think every plumber has got a go-to chisel. That chisel takes up floorboards, takes tiles off, breaks bricks out, does the lot. So I always use that to get the tiles off. So let's start ripping these out and then we can look at getting the bath out. And what we're also hoping, when these tiles come off, it's not going to rip too much of the walls off, so we don't have to reboard and all that sort of stuff. So here we're going to have to, because we've got to cut out the boards to onto the saw pipe behind here and get to all the pipe work behind here, because it's a, I don't know if you can make it out, it's a bit of a slanted roof, so there'll be a bit of a void in the back there. But I'm hoping these tiles come off without too much trouble for the tiler. Yeah, it seems to be coming off pretty well. So whether that goes to show they haven't been put on very well, but so that's the majority of the tiles off from round here. We've just got to take these off on this wall now, and then we can begin starting to get that out. But to be fair, the walls are all right actually. Once now my tilers scrape these down, clean these walls up, and this one got all the old bits and bobs off and then sealed the walls up, they'll be absolutely fine for retiling. And then, as I said, they're going to come up there, so it's full height all the way around, and then the rest of it is going to be half height tiled anyway. So yeah, we'll start getting some of that down, then we can get the boxing off, panel off, see what's behind the bath. So we got the bath panel off. There's always some little gems underneath the bath, but for some strange reason there is always in these old houses a brick under a bath. I've never understood why. It just seems to be anything that's like, you know, 1940s, 1950s, there's always a brick under there for some strange reason. We've got the water off, so what I'm going to do is just get the pipe size, cut them 2 pipes off there, disconnect the waste, get the bath out. So we've got the hot and cold's disconnected to the bath, waste's off the bath. We took the 2 brackets out the back, so in theory it should just sort of lift out of place now. There you go. There we go, straightforward enough. So let's get this outside, out of the way, finish what we've got to do here. We might trim the pipes back a little bit there, and carry on ripping the rest of it out. So when I'm carrying these baths out of people's houses, I always take the legs off because they just stick out a little bit too far, and when you're taking them downstairs, not that it's a problem here because it's all being redone, but if you're taking them out of someone's house and all the painting and the walls are all fine and that, these little legs can sometimes catch on things and cause you a little bit of grief. So I always just whip them off like so. Just gives that a little bit of extra room when you're taking them downstairs. So all these little bits of info that, you know, myself, Pete, Plumlight, Tom, Matt give on our YouTube channels is just what things we've picked up over the years to make your life that little bit easier. You know, I get it a lot from lads coming into the trade, or, you know, even I don't know everything. I've even seen things on channels where I've gone, why have I never done that? That's so easy. But yeah, little gems like that can save you a lot of hassle. So same again with the basin, it's coming out, so we'll just cut the pipes off wherever we can get onto them, just about here. Disconnect the waste, get this unit out, get this basin out, carry on getting the tiles off, and the same, we do the same with the bidet, cut the pipes off, cut the waste, get this out. So the basin out, bidet out. We're just going to take the toilet out now, then we can get the rest of the tiles off, whip this rad off. They're keeping a rad on this wall, but I'm not sure what they're going to do with the back of it because, as I say, we're going to be boarding or at least covering this area up because the builders have got to go through here for various access for the rooms and that. But we'll get the rad off, get all the rest of the tiles off. We've got tiles to get off up there and that as well. And then we can have a good clear up in here, get it swept up, and we can begin then exposing that wall and seeing where the sewer pipes go, because as I say, we've got to move the toilet from here to there, then the basin there. So let's get this out and get it all tidied up. So we're in the middle of taking the toilet out. I've just took the cistern off and emptied it back down into the pan, and I noticed something when I took it off. It's got a brass ball valve. I haven't seen one of these for ages, so I'm going to take it out and have a bit of a look. I can't remember the last time I ever saw a brass bodied ball valve in a toilet system. Beta, England. It's got a BS mark on it. So yeah, quite rare to see that. It's quite a cool looking thing actually. I might keep hold of that one. I like to keep old plumbing stuff. Yeah, might keep that, give it a bit of a clean up. Yeah, don't see them all the time. So we'll get the pan out, get the tiles off, as I've said, and have a tidy up. So I'm just about to take this pan out, took the screws out the bottom, and I noticed this waste pipe, there's no adapter onto the back of the pan. It's just been pushed into the soil pipe and just completely siliconed up and bodged up, and whatever they've done there, but I'm sure it will just, yeah, there you go, look. Certainly in there anyway. Wow, it's properly in there. Let's put the camera down and get two hands on it. Wow, it's got some sort, it looks like they've just sort of heated it up and somehow got it on and just filled it with putty and silicone and all sorts. So we're working our way around now. I've just isolated the rad, whipped that rad off there. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to do with this back wall, because when we do this bathroom, I think I've already said, we're going to batten off down here, down there, across the floor and virtually in front of there. And we're not going further past that point. So everything we do is going to be from there this way, fully tiled, floor done, everything. What the customer is going to do, they're going to have some like doors and stud work and that put in there to make that area of the bathroom like an airing cupboard. So I think they're going to have a rad put back there. So we'll take that one off for now. We may have to alter the pipes, but I'm not sure what they're going to do. When I looked at the job, and went through with them, they were a bit undecided. So at least it's isolated now. It's not too much of a problem because we can come back and do it. And to be fair, I've just thought the builders have got to get through here at some point for some lintels and that in the roof. So that may be just put to one side and done when we do the other bathroom that is going back to that wall. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that isolated, get all the tiles and that knocked off there. Come around here, get these off there, have a tidy up, get the floor up, and then we can have a little bit of a look what's behind this wall. So we've now got all the tiles off, all the tiles from across the top of the doorways, everything is off the walls. Now we're going to get, it's only a lino, so it'll come up fairly easy. We'll get that up, get the whole room swept out, completely clean, and then I'm going to try and expose the stack and see if we can get a bit of an idea of how we're going to start first fixing the pipework to come out in the positions it needs to go. So with the floor completely out now, I've now just roughly worked out exactly where the measurements are going to be on here. This is the 700 point from the back wall to the edge of the bath, and then we're working from there to here is where the wall is going to be for this built-in wardrobe, airing cupboard thing. So our centre from there to there is at this point here. Now I'm not sure whether to move this centre to here, because this side is where the toilet's going, so then we can centre the pan between this window. So the pan will sit in the middle of there, and then we can work with that amount of room for the basin, because I know the basin, if we put it at the centre of where we've marked it, it's going to be here, and it's near this bit here, whereas if we work it from that, it might just give us a little bit more room working it from the centre of that window, if that makes sense. They do know that the basin is it's not going to be able to go centre of that window because it's that much bigger. I think it's 570 wide basin. So I just knocked all the plaster that was surrounding this saw pipe, and we've been greeted by a massive great big joist either side that they've obviously just drilled straight through to get that saw pipe out. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the mighty tool here, I'm going to cut up along here, I'm going to come straight across into here and just remove this bit. We've got to get to that anyway, we've got to alter the saw pipe, and it's going to be around the area where the toilet is going to go anyway. So we'll cut this bit out and expose what is behind there, because I can't sort of tell what we're going to be dealing with at the moment. So we are going to have to reboard bits of this when it comes to tiling it. So taking this out isn't a problem. We'll patch it up, and then by the time it's tiled over, it won't be a problem. So let's get this out, see what we're dealing with. Wow, that explains. That explains why they've chopped through that joist, which I am going to have to do when we come to fit the toilet in there. There's no other way around that. You cannot build the toilet up off the floor. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to be governed by this as well. So the toilet is going to have to come a little bit there. Yeah, we're going to have to investigate this a little bit. But that is exactly where they've done that. And the soil pipe comes along. Does it come to here? Can't tell. I think it drops down around there. But yeah, we need to expose a little bit more of that and see exactly what we're up against, I think, because that is going to be a bit of a pain in the arse, I think. So I've just exposed a little bit more of these boards here, and the pipe work behind this board, it's a little bit baffling, to be fair. So we've got, it was back to front, hot on the right, cold on the left here, being fed by two separate pipes. But then we've got the cold for the toilet being fed off another one that ducks down under here and goes that way. So it's just a mass jumble of pipe work under there. I don't know quite what is going on with it. So I'm just going to take all this boarding off. I'm going to take this section off here. I'm going to take them boards off down there. I'm just going to reboard it for the sake of what it's going to, the time it's going to save me by doing all that. I'd rather buy some boards and do it properly and be able to get full access behind there, because the toilet is, if we're looking at putting it central or central-ish to here, the soil stack's behind here, and we're not quite sure, where's my light? I'm not quite sure where it goes. Oh, it just drops down there, and look, there's more pipe work in the back there, dropping down in that back corner. So I'm just going to take this out and reassess exactly what is going on with this. So I think we're going to be in for some fun and games behind this wall. So that's the boards completely taken off now. We can see exactly what is going on behind this stud work, and it's not pretty at all, and I think I'm going to have to completely repipe it all, just because it is just an absolute dog's dinner. You've got pipes coming in here, you've got 222mm obviously feeding the bath because we've got the bath pipes there, but you've got 222mm feeding the bath hot and cold. Then you've got two separate hot and colds for the bidet, two separate hot and colds, oh no they don't, they stab out, oh yes that's right, two separate feeds for the basin. They've teed the cold into this feed here, which I assume is for the basin, but it's also going off that way. A bank of pipes coming through here, I assume heating pipes and hot and colds and God knows whatever. No, is it? It could possibly even be the garage under there where the boiler is, I don't know. So I'm going to have to get my head all around this and then work out exactly what we're going to do. I think we're going to end up cutting all the pipe work back out and starting again. But yeah, this is what happens when you come to do a bathroom refurb that you think is going to be fairly straightforward, and it's not, because you've got to sort all this lot out. But as I always say, it's real world plumbing. So make sure you get subscribed, hit the like button, drop me a comment below, let me know what you think to this mess of pipe work. So as you will have seen from the previous video, I'm doing a bathroom renovation for someone, and we stripped it all out in the last video, and I began to sort of expose behind the wall where the pipes were coming through. Since then I've managed to get the boards off. Now let me show you. I've got all the boards off to expose all the pipe work. Now I've just been trying to get my head around all of this. There's just a bank of pipes coming through here. There's hot and colds feeding what was the bidet, the basin is coming off different ones. We've got 222mm hot and colds feeding the bath, which I assume are being fed from round that way somewhere. We've got 228mm primaries down here that are the old primaries from the heating system. The boiler is directly below where we are, as well as the soil pipe stack, that runs down there as well. So this is going to take some sorting out. I think I'm going to end up cutting a lot of this pipe work out and just redoing it, but I haven't I didn't know any of this was here prior to quoting up for this bathroom, and to be honest, I'm going to have a word with the customer, because this is all going to have to be sorted out and stuff, because I don't want to end up just capping pipes off and you could possibly lose the feed to the kitchen or the feed to the downstairs utility, and I don't want to have any dead legs anywhere in the pipe work. So it's going to take a little bit of investigation. I think we're going to have to end up taking a bit of this wall out, because the pipe work duct behind there and I can't see where it goes, so I think I'm just going to have to cut across and down and sort of hopefully try and find where these pipes are going. Plus we've also got the stack to sort out. This is where the toilet's going to go. Obviously we can come off there and there, but I don't know what we're going to do with that, because obviously it's got a vent somewhere. So yeah, it's become a bit of a can of worms, this job. So get subscribed to the channel, because you're not going to want to miss how we're going to sort this out, I think. And you can even see the toilet's always been backfalling anyway. Absolute nightmare. So we're down where the boiler is now. This is the soil stack coming from that bathroom. You can see those two primaries, them two 28mm dead primaries there. We've got two 22mm going up here, so I need to track back and see what that is. So that's a heating pipe, and this one coming down here, that's a heating pipe. Right, okay, so we know those two on the left are our flow and return heating pipes. What is this one going up here? I'm going to guess at, so it's coming down here up, so that's the gas. So we know this one here coming up in that corner is the gas. So we've got flow returns, gas, and we know these two here are the two 15mm that are feeding the hot and cold, because the main is coming in here and it's coming in straight into 15mm. So it's 15mm cold, 15mm hot here, coming off the boiler, chase it back into these two, if you can make them out, these two copper pipes here. So we just need to go upstairs and find where this gas pipe comes up, and then we're making a little bit of headway. We've also got these two waste pipes. They were from the bath, and I think it was the bidet, because the basin went into the soil pipe. But let's go and track them two hot and colds. Let's go and track those two flow and returns, and we know the gas is coming out on the right. So them two 22s here are our heating pipes. So we know they're the heating pipes. Those two 28mm are dead, so I'm going to cut them out the way. Therefore there should be 22mm poking up somewhere for the gas. I'm trying to find it now. Need to cut them out the way. I think it's this 15mm. I think it goes down between them joists there with that little bit of lagging. I have to go down and double check. So I think it comes up in 22, then goes into that 15mm and probably goes off to feed the cooker gas. But I'm just going to double check that, because I can see, in fact no, I can see it's swaged here. Yeah, I can see that. It is. That's the gas. So we've got the gas, we've got the flow return or heating pipes at least, and I've just marked these up. Jesus Christ, this is hard work. Just marked up the hot and cold pipes coming up here. So we've got this 15mm is the cold, this 15mm is the hot, and as I said, it comes out the boiler in 15 and then goes into this 22mm to feed the bath that way, and then the hot goes off that way, and the colds must just loop back down. So what I think I'm going to do is cut out as much as I can, but then connect the colds and the hots in down there, And as long as we get them within the circuit, so they're going to flow all around when the kitchen is on or the downstairs cloakroom is on, we're not going to have any dead legs in the pipework. So that is going to be the plan. So hopefully we can get rid of all of this and make a little bit of headway, because that has stressed me out a little bit trying to sort out what that was. There's two 28mm primaries were throwing me a little bit, so we can cut them out. And what I may do is just run 22mm plastic down the back here into here for the bath, just down the back, because you know, running copper all around the back of here is going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. So we'll see. At least we're getting a bit of headway on it now. At least we know roughly what's what. It's just where all these are all sort of coming together. Right, I've just managed to stick my head around here, so let me see if I can send the camera around and show you exactly where. You see, look down there, the pipes just run down the whole back end of the building. Right, I've now cut out the corner of this bathroom, and we can now see a little bit better inside here. Now, I think I'm going to have to climb in here at some point, but what I can see down the far end, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, is them two 28mm primaries are poking up there. Now, obviously that was where the cylinder used to be, and all the pipe work is coming from there. We've got pipes coming down across for the kitchen, and I think what they've done at the far end, I can just about see a load of compression fittings. So what I think they've done, or what I know they've done, is they've taken the cylinder out there and they've looped the hot and colds in together where need be, and the heating pipes where need be. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just speak to the customer, because none of this, I wouldn't have known any of this was going to be here. So I'm going to take all of that back as far as I can down to that far end and get it done properly, because otherwise it's just going to really play on my mind if I'm trying to connect and loop in into different areas on this pipe work. So it's been a bit of a ball ache getting to the point we're at now, but as I said, down that far end is where all the connections have been made, I think. So I'm going to try at some point and see if I can squeeze through there. Should be able to just get down and have a look. So it's the following morning on this job. So I went away from this job last night quite stressed because of what we uncovered here, all this pipe work, and just trying to get my head around what we're going to do with it. I've had a little meeting this morning here with the customer, basically saying to him, now we've uncovered all of that, I physically couldn't have priced knowing that all this was going to be an issue. You know, things like, because we've got to get the 4-inch saw pipe through here, all these pipes are going to be in the way. So luckily for me, the guy whose job it is an ex-architect, or he is an architect, he's retired now. He said, Mark, we can sort that out, you know, we'll cut that out, and if the pipe work has got to be cut out, he said he would rather me strip everything back as much as I can and redo it from there. So, fresh pair of eyes this morning, less stressed than what I was last night when I uncovered it all. Basically, these two pipes are feeding the whole house. This is the hot and the cold from the boiler. So, I'm going to cut them there and work from there. Now, all of this pipe work running around here, we looked through here last night before I went, and we found right at the far end, it looked to be where there had been a cylinder before, and they had obviously took the cylinder out to allow for a combi and altered the pipe work and looped it round to make it work. Now, for some strange reason, I don't know why, I completely forgot to look in that door to see if there was anything obvious in there. We open this door up, and it brings us directly to where they have looped all the pipe work back on itself from when this was a cylinder. And we've got the 28mm primaries here. Why I didn't, I think it was just because I was that stressed out yesterday afternoon uncovering all of that, I just completely didn't even think of looking. So anyway, we found it now, and what this tells us is, well, what this shows us is, A, there's a shitload of cobwebs in here, but B, all there is two hot and colds going that way to feed the kitchen. So all of this is in fact able to come out. So what we're going to do is go through this, cut all of this lot out, work it all back to those 2 points there of the hot and colds, and repipe it all. I'm probably going to do it in plastic. The customer's happy with it in plastic for speed, for cost, and it'd just be a lot quicker to work with and get in, and because obviously I'm aware I've got the tiler booked in for certain days. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut it all out, and we're going to get rid of all this lot first, but we're going to cut it all out and redo it all. So this bit is for all the apprentices and the lads coming into the game. You better make sure you don't mind cobwebs, old insulation that's going to itch your skin. What we got over there? Wasp's nest, the odd rat running around, the odd mouse running around. But yeah, you need to get used to this because a lot of roof spaces and alcoves and areas we need to get in are always covered in horrible, horrible cobwebs. But this is where the old vacuum comes in, because hopefully it'll suck all these cobwebs away. There we go, it's a little bit better. So we're going to get the water off now, cut as much of this pipe work as we can out. We'll get these 28 mils out, we'll get all this lot out. As long as we get hot and cold onto them 2 feeds there, we're pretty much free reign to get all around the side. Plus, it's a nice bit of scrap in that as well. Always thinking, you see, always got to go for the scrap if you can. Right, I've just been down, shut the mains cold water off so we can now begin cutting all of this pipe work out. Took the cap ends off to drain the water down. What I'm going to do is just cut them here, cut the hot and cold here, put 2 caps on them, then if need be, if the brickies come back, we can get the water back on, because that is the main feed that's feeding the whole house. And then we'll begin just cutting all of this pipe work back. So as long as we couple back up onto these 2 hot and colds feeding down to the kitchen, everything else can come out plumbing wise. Obviously we've got to leave the heating pipes in. There's a couple of pipes there for the heating for the rads, but yeah, and then we can start ripping everything out. Right, now the water's off, let's get ready and cut a load of this pipe work out and make it a little bit more accessible and a little bit more easy to understand. I'm not going to film me cutting a load of pipe work out, but I'll just show you the big pile of scrap afterwards. That's the last 20 minutes or so cutting out the majority of this pipe work. As you can see now, it's a lot better within these voids. Those 222 mils of the heating pipes. As I say, we've got the hot and colds coming there. We've got them 22 mils which are going to feed the bath. I'm going to take all that out as well. This is what the copper we've got out so far. The 2 big 28 mil primaries. But these are the ones that were at the far end of here, where the cylinder is, inside there, where the cylinder was. And as you can see, they teed them all in and looped them all around, which was why we had a load of pipe work coming through here. You know, 4 or 5 different hot and cold feeds for the bidet, for the bath. You know, some of them back in the day, they used to be tank fed for the bath and possibly tank fed for the bidet, I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, it's all out now. We've just got to finish getting these 2 28 mil primaries because they're going up that way and it's hard to get them out through the joists, but we'll get there in the end. And what I'm going to do is re-lag, because it's hair foul lagging on them heating pipes. There's a little 15 mil gas pipe as well. So what I'm going to do is get some lag in and re-lag all those properly before all this goes back on. But we've got plenty of work to do yet. We'll finish getting this copper out because we're getting a nice little bundle there, ready for the scrap man. So this is one of the 28 mil primaries that I took out. Now, as I was cutting it out and trying to get all the pipe work out, I pulled this and it just fell out. It just still baffles me how a 28 mil primary, obviously it was fine when it was in, it hasn't been used for years because obviously it's been converted, but it just pulled apart. And you can see on there, none of the solder has gone, being held by just that tiny little bit of solder around the edge of the elbow for God knows how many years. Even inside, it's not even solder inside the fitting. But yeah, it does, it baffles me how sometimes you'll go to fittings and they just fall apart in your hand, but they've held for years and years and years. So yeah, that's that. There we go. I've now cleaned out all the back of this void and you can see we're now down to just the flow and return heating pipes, this is the gas pipe, and as I said already, I think we're going to put lagging on that completely round there. What I'm going to do is come off the flow and returns, and I'm just going to stab out with 2 valves here, just in case they ever want a radiator going on the back of where this wall is going to be built. Then we can just run that around and connect onto it. But they're not too sure yet, because they're having underfloor heating, electric underfloor heating under the tiles. They're a little bit dubious about having a towel rail there, but if we put the feeds in, they've got them. So now we can begin to sort of get my head around what we're going to do. So I'm going to make a list of everything we need, make a list of what soil stuff we're going to need, because I'm going to come off that elbow, I'm going to take that 45 out, come off with a T straight through here for the toilet, and then across to pick up that vent, running it along the back. So that'll be out of the way, and then we can just run the pipe work into the front here. And also, when I cut out this joist for the soil pipe, I'm going to take this bit of timber, trim this up, put it in there, brace the top, and I'm going to brace the top of that one as well. And just to make sure that joist has got some sort of support on, but it doesn't go all the way that way anyway. We're going to screw them up so they're a bit more solid. And once we've got everything in the back there, I'm going to pick up a few bales of rock wool insulation just to go back inside there, just to keep it nice and fresh. But again, I haven't priced any of this, so I'm going to make a list up now of what we need, shoot off to plumb base, pick it all up, and then we can make a start on beginning to get the first fixed pipe work in for this bathroom. Right, the bathroom saga continues. We are back on the bathroom. Yesterday I got all of this stripped out, right back to just a hot and cold feed coming in there, and stripped right back into the back of that cupboard. Spoke to the customer yesterday about everything that we've got to do here, and obviously it wasn't priced into the job. I always put a caveat in my pricing, basically saying if there's any remedial work that we can't see, you know, all this was tiled in, all this was, you know, a working bathroom, so nobody knew what we was going to be greeted with behind there. Spoke to the customer about it, and he said, yeah, Mark, not a problem at all. Do what you've got to do, and get it all working. Price point, costing and time, he's happy for it to be in plastic. So I went and picked a load of plastic up there. Before anyone comes at me about putting plastic in, if you're that bothered, I've done a video, I'll put a link up here of a bathroom I've done in copper, because there's always someone that says he can't do copper work, he's doing it in plastic. I've done loads of bathrooms in copper, I've done loads of bathrooms in plastic, and to be honest, touch wood, they've all been perfect, they've all been fine, it's not an issue. It comes down to price point. You know, for this, this was not what we knew was going to happen. The customer's happy for it to be in plastic because it's going to save him time, money, etc. So that's how we're doing it, in plastic. We've got everything here. Went and picked a load of stuff up yesterday from Plumb Base. We've got our screws, got our Talon clips all ready to clip it in to here as neat as we can get it. We've obviously got to alter the soil pipe and that as well. Now, an interesting thing that I thought about last night was all that side of the roof is going. You see under here, where all this is coming out because they're building another bathroom back to back with this wall basically. So all of this will have to be altered at some point. Now, what I'm going to do is run the hot and colds into here, and then we're just going to come off there, up to the far end there, and connect onto the hot and colds to keep that side of the house live, because I'm assuming, I'll have to have a look at the drawings, but I'm assuming that this is going to follow all the way down. So the bathroom that's going to go there is also going to have this void here. They're having a new stack put in for it, so that's not a problem. But so if I just bring the pipe work to there and then loop hot and colds across to pick up what we've got, then it's not too much of a problem to reconnect onto it when we need to, that side of things, once this bathroom's all finished. So that's the process we're going to do with that. So today it's going to be mainly sorting the wastes out. I think I'm going to start with the waste for the bath here. I'm going to redo the waste in the bath. That's the old bidet waste. What we're going to do is put a T in here to feed obviously the pan, and we'll put the waste from the basin, drop it straight into a boss on top of the T. Now, we're going to have to do what they've done here, but here for the toilet. So we're going to cut this joist out, take this bit of timber out that we're taking out there, and put it into there, and then brace that up. We're going to brace this side up as well. I think I might have already said, but the customer is a retired architect, so he's happy with it being braced and stuff like that. So before anyone comes at me for doing that, if you can think of a way of getting a soil pipe from here to here without going through there when the floor's not deep enough, you're a miracle worker. So that's how we're doing that. So let's start now and begin getting some waste pipes in first, then we can drop onto the pipe work, and then we can finish off with getting the store stack connected and brought out here. So this is that stack that's downstairs. This was where the bidet was going into this one. So I've put a little bung, little rod and eye cap in there, and this is where the bath was going into. So I've took the old bath fittings out, put new solvent wild ones in. So what we'll do, we'll come up with that pipe there, bang an elbow on it, and then we know the connections going into the stack are all ready, all good, and then we can work from above. So that's the 1.5 inch in for the bath. We've dropped it down and connected into that boss down below. Got an elbow on there. I found out finally what that brick was for. I'm just going to use it to prop that waste up. So the waste's in. What I'm going to do now is get the two 22mm in for the bath, and we're just going to bring them into here. Just going to poke them around there on elbows into here, and then we can pop that lagging back in there and work from this point here to save me getting all around there. And then we can work along there and bring out all the feeds that we need. I'll tee off them 222s in for the basin, and then we can start getting the soil pipe in, well at least the tee in, and cut the boss in, and then we can get the waste in for the basin, and then move down to the bath and then get everything carried on along there. So I've looped the hot and cold and the waste in now. Hot and cold's coming here. As I always say, always mark your pipes up. I've got to put cold on that one, to be fair. So we're going to bring them down. Now, to set out for where the basin's going to go, we need to pinpoint where the toilet's going to go on this job, because, as I said, we've got to go through that beam. Now, I said, possibly in this video, or at least in the other video, there's going to be a cupboard coming off there. So we're working to this point here. Now, what I wanted to try and do was get the pan, the centre of the pan, in line with this part of the window. This is just like a double glazing thing, is get it in line with this part of the window. So I've got the laser level out, we've chucked it straight up there, and we're working. If I move that, we're working to that line just there. Let me move that light so you can see it. Working to that line there. Now I know we're going to have enough room because I've offered that fitting in there, so we can trim that out there, and then from there that's going to be the centre of our toilet, so I can work from that and centre from the edge of where the bath's going to go and find the middle between the bath and the edge of the toilet, so it's going to look fairly equal. Obviously we know it's not going to tally up with the other side of the window because the basins, I think it's a 550 or a 570 basin, but it is what it is. I've been through it with a customer, and the only other alternative was to put vanity units set up the same width as what the window was, but his missus didn't want that. So that's the way we're going. Pedestal basin, close couple toilet and pan. So we'll work that out there. I'll mark up where we're going to cut on that joist, but then we can work back, bring our hot and cold tails up off that plastic, poke out in copper. I always bring out in copper, apart from the bath because we're looping underneath. Whenever I'm doing plastic work, whenever you'll see pipe work, it will always come out in copper. So we can then bring the feeds out for there, get the waste in, and then we can come off the soil pipe and get that done. We've also got a load of lagging downstairs because we're going to lag everything moving on forward through there. So we've worked out exactly where we're going to bring the pipes up now for the basin. This is the height of where the pipes are going to come out, so we're going to bring it hot, cold out there, slightly lower for the waste, and this is the point we're going to bring them out. That's the centre mark. So we're going to bring them out there, we're going to put a little bit of a batten across the bottom of it, pop some clips on the top, bring the pipes out to hold them firm when they're going to come out, and then, to be fair, I'll probably put a clip on the bottom, underside of it, to bring the waste out. So using plastic, I get why people have a problem with plastic. It doesn't look great, it's quick to put in, it's very much, reminds me very much of just putting cables in. You can just pull lengths and lengths of plastic pipe work in. I'm using just 3 metre lengths for this job under here because it's a lot easier to use, but if I'm drilling through joists and running pipe work down far ends of buildings, I'll just buy the coil of plastic pipe. But the key factor I find is doing it right. You've always got to put the inserts into the pipe work. So for instance, with this one, we've got a 22mm pipe. As long as you put that insert into there and when you push the fitting on, they sort of click in. When you push it up to the rubber, and then it's just a good shove in, and it will bind onto that pipe. And, you know, touch wood, I've never had any major issues with plastic pipework that is fitted correctly. I always use polyplumb stuff. I just find it a lot easier to work with personally. There is obviously Speed Fit and Hep 2O and all that sort of stuff, but I've always used polyplumb. A, they've got it in stock at Plumb Base. B, I just find the pipework a lot easier to work with. So we'll put that onto there, reducer onto there, and then elbow into the top of the pipe, and then that's the cold connected up, and we can fire the pipework down that alcove. So we're making a little bit of progress now. I've connected up the hot and colds onto there and put two 22 mils up into the eaves over there. And we've also trimmed out through this joist for the saw pipe. We've also braced it across the top, braced it in the back. And then what I've cut out of here, I'm going to tweak a little bit and put in there and brace that little bit up as well. So that's all fine. We've just got to bring the cold feed out. I'll probably drill through here and then bring the cold out, connect onto the cold pipe behind there. And then that's the bath, the basin. We've just got to do the waste on the basin, which is going to boss into the top of there, which is fine. And then all we're going to do is come across and pick up that vent over there and then loop across there onto the hot and colds that are going down to feed the kitchen and the utility at the minute that's out the back. So yeah, making a good bit of progress now. So before we get too carried away going up that end, I want to get some lagging on these pipes, lagging on the heating pipes, lagging on these hot and colds, and lag basically as much as I can going that way. We can then get the waste in for the basin into there, because if I put that in now, we're going to struggle to get to the pipes at the back. So bought the lagging up, big bundle of it from Plumb Base this morning. We'll crack on, get this lagged as much as we can, and then we've got to also connect up the vent on the top of the saw pipe. So we've got the lagging on those heating pipes going up the back. We've also got the lagging on these pipes going up here, and I've just put, or finished putting, the clips on, holding all this pipe work in place, because the last time anyone put any pipe work in this void, it wasn't even clipped. It was lagged, to be fair, had all that hair felt lagging on it, but it was far from being clipped. So that's them all clipped into position now. We're just going to put some lagging on the copper pipes going down there, some lagging on them, we'll pop a bit on there, and then we're slowly working our way through. So we've got the vent pipe in now for the vent that's going up through the roof. I need to pick up a 4-inch collar to connect onto there, and then we can get it strapped up, clipped on. But that's how that will sit there. And then what I've done through here is move that out of the way. I've connected onto the two hot and colds down there that feed down to the kitchen. Right, we've got the 57mm drill bit ready to just drill straight out that boss. This one fits perfectly. Well, it does. If it weren't for that bit, it fits perfectly into there. And then when that's drilled out, we can then just pop in a rubber bung like so, and then we can come off 1.25 inches. There we go. And then we just pop that bung in there like so, pop a bit of 1.25 inches out of there, run it across the back, then we'll poke it out here. We'll put a little clip on there as well to hold it all in place. And then that is the basin first fixed, toilet first fixed, bath first fixed. Finish connecting the vent up, and then all we've got left to do then is tee in to the two heating pipes and just poke a couple of feeds out there before we start boarding and re-insulating in this void. But how much better does that look now? It's been completely tidied out. I think Peter, the owner, is going to stick his head in later on, so he's going to be blown away with exactly what we've done there. But it was one of those things, it had to be done, just A, for safety, because I weren't happy with all the pipe work, the way it was running around, and you know, you've seen how them joints can just come apart at times anyway. So at least that's done, and then when we're going to tee into the heating pipes, we'll probably sort out a little bit to do with that as well. But for now, let's go and grab these couple of little bits. I think I'm going to grab something to eat as well, because I'm starving. So there we go, that is the majority of what we need to get done. All the wastes are in, all the pipe work's in, we've got all the new pipe work lagged, we've got the new saw pipe in, We've got the new hot and colds going up into the back of there where we've connected onto the house. So we've just got to bring them heating pipes out there. At that point, we'll then get some insulation into the back of here, board this, and we've also obviously got to get the bath in ready for Nate, my tiler, to come probably the tail end of next week and begin tiling. So yeah, what I thought was going to be an absolute nightmare wasn't too bad in the end. Once we cut all that pipe work out, it went near enough to plan. Right, we're back at this bathroom, just finishing off a few little bits that I'd never got a chance to do last week. We've got to get the bath in at some point this week for when Nathan Tyler comes. But what I want to do today is cut into the flow and return feeds that are here. And I'm just going to poke out two 50mm heating pipes with full bore isolation valves on the top of them. The reason being, we can get rid of the pipes coming through the wall here, and that means we can cut the pipe work out there, which also feeds that rad in there, because that's going to come out anyway. So if we bring the heating pipes out there, once this is all done and finished, we can then come along and pick a rad up there that the customer wants. And as I said, they're having a wall built off here and they want a towel rail bathroom side of it. So we can also come off there, run round at a later date when all the building work's done and pick up a towel rail. But if I bring them out and put two full bore isolation valves on it, we can come off them as and when we need to. So I've got to get that done, and then I've picked up some plasterboard, picked up some lagging, and then begin to get the boards on. And the same here, get the lagging on there, get some boards on, get the plinths up ready to mark out where this wall's going to be, so then Nate can tile from that point that way and get all the bathroom done. So today's little job, sort them heating pipes out, get some insulation in and get the boards on, and then tomorrow we should be getting the bath and getting that fitted in. So because we're on a combi system here, I'm going to open these, where we took this rad off, going to open these valves into my little foldable bucket just to basically take the pressure out of the system, and then I'll go downstairs. And what I'm going to do, because this one hasn't got that many drain offs for now, I'm just going to open the bottom of the Magna Clean, you know, the little screw that goes in the bottom, drain the system down through there, and then we can cut open the heating pipes and bring them pipes into here. But for now, it's perfect for the little orange bucket that everybody asks for. Amazon, 12 quid, bargain, get a couple of them. So we're going to drain the top of the system here, little plum chum, proper handy little thing to have in your pocket. So we'll just take the pressure out of the system, take the top off the system with that, and then we can drain it all downstairs. What I'm going to do now is just remove this little plug in the bottom of the Magna Clean unit, leave the valves open, and it will drain down the rest of the heating system. We've only got to work on the top anyway, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. And then we'll pop this back in afterwards. Right, we've now got the heating drain down, so what I'm going to do is fire two holes through there, and these are the heating pipes we're going to pick up. So we'll cut a couple of T's in, come off with 15mm copper through here with two full bore isolation valves. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to come off the end of there with just some plastic. We're going to cut out this pipe here, cut out these pipes here that stab through for that rad, and then just get on further down there. We're just going to connect back on to the rest of the heating circuit house, just because we know that this may have to be altered in the back here when they knock through and take this roof off, so there's no point in doing it twice. So we've got those two holes through. We'll just now cut into this 22mm, get some T's on and poke back through here. So we've got that first little bit of 15mm in there, and we'll just mark up this 22mm. So we'll cut it there, take this copper out, and then when we put the T in here, I'll come off with a bit of copper, but then we'll just put a 22mm plastic elbow on, pick up the rest of the house. So this should, in theory, be drained down now. We might get a little bit of water come out, but nothing to worry about. That's good, completely drained. flux on there, a little bit of flux on there. Already fluxed the tea up and the reducer up. Haven't fluxed in there up there. So we've got that tea in now, ready to solder up. I can't solder both of them at the same time because this one is going to have to sit over the top of that one, so it's just going to be a little bit awkward. So to make life a bit easier, put this one into position. We'll solder this one up and then pop the tea on with the reducer. Put the tea on with the reducer and bring that one out. You can just cut them off out here and put our full bore isolation valves. A little bit of copper, as I said, facing that way, and then tea back in down the far end where the pipework goes off to feed the rest of the heating in the house. Right, that's the two connections now into the heating pipes, poked up there. We'll get connectors on there, and then we'll just trim this one down so it's not right in the way, and it's the same as that one. And then we can get some isolation valves on them. So those two heating pipes that we've just cut off, this 15 mils the gas and these 222s the heating pipes, they come along here and then to here. So what I'm going to do is cut them here and here and put two plastic couplers onto them, and then put some 22mm down to there to pick up them two 22s that we've just soldered in, just to keep the rest of the house on. That rad on the left hand side of that wall is obviously coming off, and then these two plastic pipes at the minute are feeding this rad, which is also coming off. So we'll whip this off, get them cut and feed some 22mm down that way. I say it's just going to be temporary until we know what's going on with all of this is coming out. This is going to be a walkway, so we're going to have to tweak all this lot anyway, but for now we'll get it out, get reconnected on and get the heating system filled back up. So we've got the lag in, we've got the boards, we're going to get the lagging into the back of here and put it all between these joists so it's completely lagged and insulated, and then get the boards on and secure all of this area so it can then be ready to be tiled next week when Nate's back. But we all know that putting this lagging in is not a nice job, so I'm just going to crack on with it, get it done, get the boards on and get this bit finished. I thought I'd quickly show you what we're doing. So we've got all that lagging in the front there between the joists, and then also, I don't know if you can make it out now, but I've lagged all the way up the back of there on top of the pipes and everything, and we'll go to the end there and obviously get some in this little bit here before we board it. But yeah, that's how we're packing it out, keep it nice and insulated and get the boards on. So that's the boarding done, we've got the insulation in the back, boards are on, it's all ready now to be tiled. All we've got to do is clean all the rubbish out of here, get the bath in, and then it's ready for Nate to begin tiling. We went to Plumb Base last night, grabbed the bath, grabbed the legs, grabbed the taps, and I also grabbed one of these McAlpine bath traps. Now I fitted one of these a while ago and I really rate them, I think they're spot on. So I grabbed another one, it is a HC2650 UK, really good trap. So we'll pop that on the bath. I've also picked up some timber to batten around the outside of the bath, which is how I've always done baths. It just makes them properly secure when they're on the wall as opposed to just hanging on them little brackets. So we'll get the bath stripped down. I think we've also, yeah, we've got to drill the bath taps on this one as well. So we'll get this all stripped down and then look at getting the legs on. So I say this every time I fit a bath on a bathroom renovation, always use the fittings that come in the pack for the legs, because otherwise you'll end up screwing through here to secure the legs to the bottom of the bath, and you'll use some screws that you've just got out your screw box and they'll go through the wood into the bottom of the bath. I don't know anyone that's done it and he might even be watching. An old apprentice of mine did it. Paul Hawkins. Hawko, if you're watching, remember that time when you screwed them bath legs on that bath and they went straight through the bottom? And what was your reply to it? At least they ain't going to slip in the bath now. Apprentices. So yeah, always use the fittings that come with it. Now, obviously this is a P-shaped bath, so the bottom of the bath is wider than the top. It comes with 2 different sets of legs. So obviously the longer ones are going to go here. They've fortunately marked, or they've tried to mark some holes out. They've marked the holes like that, so it's going to go on the angle a little bit. So that's that one. And then they've marked the top. We'll get that in, then we can get the legs on and get the bath tipped over and then get the taps marked out on the top into the centre of the bath and then get them screwed in as well. So when you come to mark the taps on one of these P-shaped baths, just be a little conscious. This nearly caught me out for a second then. So the end of this bath is 700, so half of it would have been 350, but if you'd have gone 350 on that, if you look here, the actual centre line off the waist is, give or take, 385. So with the P-shaped bath, they've obviously moved the waist across slightly, so always be a little bit wary of that. Always get the taps in line with that waist. So what we'll do, we'll get the taps out now, set it there. I've got my hole saw set. Got my hole saw set, so we'll get the taps out, mark out exactly where they've got to go. I always put them centre of this lip here, so they'll be in the middle, and then we can get them drilled out. So if we measure the centre of these taps, they're always about 182 mil. They're always a little bit more over than 180. So always be mindful of that. And what I do, I always use the hole cutter slightly bigger than what the threads are, but obviously enough to be covered by the shroud and the rubber wash that's going to go on it. So we'll mark these up, 182, obviously centre them off that line and get them drilled out, because you've got one chance with these baths. Obviously drilling taps out. Years ago they used to come pre-drilled, but for some reason people want taps in the corners and at the sides and all that sort of jazz now. So you'll struggle to find a bath with pre-drilled holes, to be honest. I can't remember the last one I had that had pre-drilled holes in it. So yeah, we'll get that centred up on there and get that drilled out. So we've got those marked out now. I haven't took the film off the bath. I always mark it on top of the film and cut it out that way. And what I do, I drill the pilot through first, just to stop that, you know, if you drill through with the pilot bit and then all of a sudden that will drop down onto the bath. So we'll get those drilled out and get the taps in. There we go, and just pull the film off. Down where the taps have got to go. We can get them taps into position now. So those little rubbers that are on the bottom of the bath shrouds will now cover those holes that we've drilled in. So you see that rubber completely covers the area that we drilled. So we'll get them in position, get them screwed up underneath, and then we can begin to offer the bath into position. So as I think I said earlier, I like these McAlpine traps. I fitted one not too long ago to a bath I did and was quite impressed with it. So they sit, obviously the bath's got to be jacked up a little bit and tweaked, but it will sit like that. Now what I'm going to do is put it that way on this bath so the overflow can stab out from there, and then we'll come out here with an elbow and then it'll run. We just alter the waist and run it down the front end of this bath. But as always, what I always do with bath waste, some people do it, some people don't, I'll put a little smear of silicone around there, pop the rubber on, another little smear of silicone around there, and then the same on the top, pop that into the top, and then it comes with a little tool to tighten it up and get it in. A little tool there to tighten it up. So let's get some silicone on it, get it put into position. Obviously you've pulled the film away from it, We'll get that in, mounted in, and then we can look at putting the bath into place, working out the height. I need to shoot off and get the bath panel. I forgot to pick it up this morning. Get it into place and get the battens along the wall to make sure it's solid. So that's the bath just offered into position for the minute. What I always do, and I've always been taught to do it, and I've done it on every bath I've fitted, is put plinths under the feet. I think it's pretty common practice, but I have seen baths fitted by people and they don't do it. And at the end of the day, it's each to their own, but it just spreads the weight of the feet when they're going onto the floor. So just cut a little bit of timber. So just cut a little bit of timber, slide it underneath, and then obviously lift the bath up, put it under the legs, and then work your height from that. And it also gives a sort of an indication of how high the tiles are going to be. So we've got the bath panel over there, so we can work out from the top of this to the lip of the bath. By the time Nate's got his board on and his tile on and whatnot, it's going to be about that sort of height, so we can work the panel off the top of that to the bottom of the bath. So let's get these in, screw these down, and then we can set the height of the bath, mark around the bath where the plinths are going to go, and then put the plinths in place. If we measure now the bath panel, the width of the bath panel is 5'10". So what we've got to do is set the height of the bath, bearing in mind we're going to have tiled floor, so it's going to be cement boarded, then adhesive, then tiled. So we're going to work on the basis of what that is there. So if we measure from the top of that to the bottom of the bath, that is just over 500. So we've got to jack it up a little bit to 5'10". The same with this one, just there slightly on that one. But we'll do that, and then we'll level it all round with the level, get the back edge level, sides and the front all set to 5'10". Then we can mark out underneath where the battens are going to go. So let's get this bath level. This is where sometimes you can chase your tail a little bit with a bath, but I always go from the front leg, and then we can reach through underneath the bath, alter the legs. And what is good with these ones is they've got these welding nuts on the bottom, so to spin the legs is fairly easy. He says as he tries to spin it with his hand and can't do it because the weight of the bath's on it. So we've chased our tail around the bath a little bit and got it level. So we're level on this front edge here. We're level on the back, and then side to side we're level on there. On there. So what we'll do now is, now that that's completely level, we will go round and mark the exactly where this bottom is here. So if we mark along there, do it all the way around the back, I'll reach up underneath the bath there, and then we can get the plinths on the wall, and then when the bath is put into place, it sits on top of the battens, the plinths that are running round the underside of the bath. It just means that the bath is absolutely solid. You know when some people say, right, you've got to fill the bath up with water because it will drop. This stops that drop happening. So that's the way I've always done it. It's just a lot better than I put in these crappy little brackets to hold a bath in place. So that's the batten put all the way around the edge now, so the bath is going to sit onto that when we lift it in now. We've put some little brackets on underneath just to stop it moving off, but it's going to be sealed in anyway, and the legs will be screwed down onto these little plinths. So just pick the bath up, drop it into position, and then we're ready to begin connecting it up. So there you go, that's the bath in, absolutely solid now on them plinths that are running around. And what we'll do, we'll get some screws into the feet here, stop it moving around. I might even be able to, yeah, I should be able to get a couple into that back one there as well. So we'll get that done, and then we're ready to begin connecting the hot and colds and the waste into the bath. I always keep these baths covered up until the very last moment, and then I can get the silicone in. So I've left the wrapper on it, left the film on it. I've just begun to pull it back off the bath, ready for, because it's now in its final position and ready to go in and ready to silicone round it and seal it in prior to the tiling. I've just started pulling all this cellophane off it. I pulled it along here, and I've noticed this. There's a mark on the edge of the actual internal bit of the bath. What an absolute pain. This was the last bit to go in, to connect up, and ready for Nave to then begin the tiling on this bathroom. So I've just rung Dave at Plumbase, and he said he's going to try and get me one for tomorrow, but that sort of throws out tomorrow's jobs, what I had planned in. So these things happen, I suppose. You know, I like to keep them covered up as long as I can, but obviously this time it's bit me in the arse, because if I'd uncovered it earlier on, I would have seen it. It's half of one and 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, or whatever it is. It's just sort of annoyed me a little bit. But Dave's on it. Dave's going to see him get me another one. But yeah, just that tiny little fucking mark there. First of all, I thought it was just like a little bit of plaster or something like that, but no, it's an actual sort of chip within the mould of the bath. So yeah, these things happen. There's not a lot I can do. All I had to do was get this in, connect it up, test it, and then it was handing over to the tiler. So I need to get that done. Oh, hang on. Here's Dave now. Let's see if he's got any good news. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Got 2 left.
Oh, you're a star, mate. What sort of time tomorrow will that be?
Hopefully, it'll be first thing. They usually send it all out at.
Okay.
Because they're usually here before I am.
Oh, right, okay, that'd be handy. That'd be handy. I'm just filming for YouTube, Dave, telling the viewers what's happened. So say hello.
Hello. Remember, Kate O'Connell's the rep.
Kate O'Connell from Frontline. Is Kate there? Is she, Dave?
No. She isn't.
All right. So yeah. So tomorrow morning, hopefully, mate.
Morning, yeah. Usually they're here at 7. So as soon as it's here, I'll let you know.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Pat. But don't be too nice. It might not turn up.
Right. Cheers, Dave. Ta.
Bye-bye.
There you go. First thing tomorrow. So what I'm going to do now, as pissed off as I am, I'm going to get this back out, get the taps out of it, get the waste out of it, and basically get ready to pick that new one up in the morning, get over it. At least, to be fair, at least all the battening's done and everything's done for it. So at least we can get the other one and get it in straight away. But these things happen. Fair play to Dave. Dave's on it, sorting it out for me. But it's real world plumbing, and this is what goes on. So do you check it? Do you unpack your bath completely before you fit it, or do you wait till it's in? I'm sure people are going to let me know. You should always unpack it before, but on this one I left it all covered in. So let's get this one out and get ready to pick the other one up in the morning and try again. So just outside Plum Base, it's the following morning. Dave's done me a treat here. He's got this bath in for me, so we'll just give it a quick check over before I take it away, because I don't want this one to be damaged like the other one was. But no, that's why I say you should always look after your merchants. They always see you all right when you need them the most. Hello, mate.
How you doing?
All right, where's my hero?
He's in there, man. Yeah, I am here.
Thanks, Dave.
That's all right. Hey, I'm not all super.
And it was what was it, 7:15 this morning?
7.
Sent me a text. 7:15, woke me up, bath's in. Can't fault that. So what's that, less than 14-hour turnaround? That's why you buy them treats at Christmas, so they look after you.
Hang on, you ain't took the film off the bath yet.
I have, I've just been outside, checked it.
Check.
But no, spot on. See, always look after your merchants. So there we go, we've got the new bath up into the bathroom. Let's try again at fitting it on there where it's got to go. I'm going to take the packaging off it, check it's okay, get the legs back onto it. Basically everything that we done yesterday, right up to the point where I was yesterday before I found out it had that mark on it. But this is a perfect example of buying stuff from your merchants, less than 14, 15 hours, and I've got a new bath here. If you'd have bought that, or the customer had bought that off the internet, and you'd have got it in, then you'd have had to take it out. They'd have to ring Victoria Plum or whoever and faff around. You probably wouldn't get another bath for a week, so then that would knock the whole bathroom on a week. Whereas this one, next day, you see ya, ready to be put in. So let's get it back to the position we was in yesterday before we had to take it out again. So I think I said yesterday, I always leave the film and the protective stuff as much as I can on the baths till they're in, and then take it all off. Just my little paranoia now after that last bath, so I've just took everything off this bath, got the legs on, laid it down, took everything off, just to make sure it's all right. So yeah, it's absolutely spot on everywhere. So we'll crack on now, get it in, get the taps re-drilled back into it, and get it put into place. that's that bath now back into position at the point where we got to yesterday before we noticed that little issue. But yeah, this one is perfect. All the waste's on, just got to connect the overflow. But I've just spin down, turn the water off. So what I'm going to do to connect the pipework up is put a 22mm flexi, full bore flexi, so it's got the best flow going through it on that flexi. A little bit of copper into an elbow, into a bit of plastic, and then just connect it underneath the bath. So I'm going to do that for the cold. I'm going to pipe the cold up, and then with the waste, we're going to, because we're coming out the side here, I'll put an elbow on there, and then 2 45s back into the 1.5" there, and then we can connect the hot on this side, and then get some water in there and fill it up, and just make sure everything's all right, make sure the waste's running away and all of that. And then finally it'll be ready for Nathan to get the tiling done. That's the 22mm connected up, if you can see it through there, on for the cold. We've connected the waste. I've just made up the 22mm for the hot, so we'll put that into position, cut the hot pipe down, connect it up, and then that is just about done. What I'm going to do then is put some sealant around the side. I always silicone the edge of the bath in prior to obviously Nave tiling down to it, just to make it properly secure and in place. Then we'll leave it to go off, have a good tidy up in here, and then before we go, run some water through it and make sure all is well. As I've said before, because we've battened the back and the sides, you know, there's not going to be any movement in that bath when the water fills up, and not going to be a problem at all. So yeah, we'll get this on, get this connected up, and get the water back on. Water's back on, and we're all sealed in round the edge, ready for Nave to begin tiling next week. We've got all the boards in, we're done in here as much as we can now. So as I say, I will be dropping back in at some point next week just to check on Nave. I'll film a little bit, show you. We've got tiles going on the floor, electric underfloor heating going under the tiles with a little mat. With feature wall in that back end as far as I can remember, tiling down there, half height tiling along there. So it'll begin to come together next week when Nate's here getting that done. I've just pulled up back at the place where we're doing the bathroom renovation. The van is full of bathroom gear. I've got the key in my pocket, and as far as I'm aware, I've had no phone call to say not, but Nathan and Matty, the tilers, finished the tiling yesterday. So let's have a bit of a look. Yep, there we go, sorted. So walls are done, floor's done, underfloor heating matting is in. So what we're going to be doing today is getting the toilet in, getting the basin in, shower screen. As I said before, the shower is just coming off the bath taps. We're going to put a riser up, get an extra long hose, and get the bath panel on. Right, let's go and get stuff out the van, because I picked it up from Plum Base last night to save me going first thing this morning. There's the taps, and there you go. Let's get all this unloaded into there, let's get my tools off, and start fitting this bathroom back in. So I've got my gear in, I've got my drills on charge over the back there, and we can now begin to start getting in toilet, cistern, as I said, basin, and the bits on the bath. I always like to lay everything out. When I start a bathroom, like second fix and getting everything in, I want to make sure I've got everything in place. So we've got that laid out there. We're going to start with the cistern. I've just unboxed the cistern. It's got a strange little lip on the front. I've never seen one like that, so I'm assuming that the lid will sit flush with that, but you're going to have the lip on the top as opposed to down the side, but I guess it is what it is. We'll make the cistern up with the bits that are supplied, we'll get it bolted onto the pan. Obviously we've got the sewer pipe coming in there, and we've got the 15mm feed coming in that side. Quickly, just to address this, in a previous video people were saying, I can't believe you haven't put isolation valves on these pipes coming out in the first fix. There's no point in bringing them up, putting an elbow, bringing it up, putting an isolation valve on both of them, because Nate is then not going to be able to get his tile over. The reason I leave them like that, the holes can be cut, the tile can go over, same with that one, and then on the second fix, I've drained the water down already, elbow, 2 isolator valves, and away you go. And also I will put some talon covers on those pipes as well. So let's crack on with this, let's get this system made up and bolted onto the pan. So it's just your basic normal siphon, whip the bottom off it like so, and just feed it into position in the system, tighten it up on the bottom. Same with the fill valve, again, just swap that out And then these two other lugs here are obviously for where it bolts down onto the actual pan itself. So we'll get this made up and then I'll show you how we'll go about fitting the pan and the L brackets that always come with it. There's a certain way that I fit these to stop any sort of sliding or movement in them. So what I am going to do with this system is, this is the one that comes with it. It's got a plastic thread on the bottom, and as we all know, I'm not really a big fan of them. So I'm going to swap it for the Dudley HydroFlow compact valve with the brass bottom on the end, just because we know from experience plastic threaded ends on these ball valves can be an absolute pain. So we'll fit this HydroFlow into this system and get it all connected up. Right, we're at the stage where I'm going to mark up where the bottom of this pan is going to go. Now, the way I do it, there's loads of different ways that people do this for the same result. What I do, we've got the pan into position, if you remember from one of the previous videos, we wanted it centre of that line of the window. So we've marked it up, you see that, I'll just come to the left a little bit. We've marked the middle of the pan and the middle of the wall where exactly where it's going to go. So what we're going to do is mark along the front edge there, and then just mark where the hole is. Same this side, mark there and mark exactly where the hole is. Then what we can do, we can pull the pan out because we've got to offer in the L brackets. So we've got the pan out and this is where the L brackets have got to go. However, we've got to measure the thickness, that this is the edge of the pan, but obviously underneath, inside the pan, I don't know if you can see it, this lip here is this distance that bracket has got to be set back. So we've got to measure the distance underneath there. This is handy where the Uni-Light tape measure comes in because it's got it marked on the bottom. So if we put that lip on there, it's give or take 30 mil. So we've got to measure from this line in 30 mil, both sides, and then with that lining up to the centre of where we're going to bolt it, we know exactly where these brackets can go. So they're measured in now at 30 mil. What I do with these, you can either put one bolt in the middle, but what I found is sometimes when you're screwing in the pan at the side, this can move around, or even when you're pushing the pan into position, if it's just pivoting on that one screw hole in the middle, they can be knocked out of line there. So what I do is I'll drill a hole here and a hole here, just so you've got 2 points in that bracket bolted down with 2 screws, so you know they're not going to go anywhere. So I'll get these drilled out and bolted into place and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Right, I know we've had loads of new subscribers to the channel that probably won't have seen these drill bits. Now, if you drill tiles, these are really soft tiles, but these are porcelain tiles on the floor, and we all know you buy the drill bit from the merchants, it's like 15 quid and it lasts like 10 holes or something like that and it burns out. These are from eBay. I think they're about 6 quid, 6 or 7 quid for 10. I've just drilled them 3 holes with that, just onto the 4th one now. I'll show you just how easy it goes through. If I can find the mark that I've made, there it is. Obviously keep them nice and wet. There we go. So I've drilled all 4 of them with them £6 drill bits from eBay. At the end of the day, if they last you, you know, 3 or 4 bathrooms for 6 quid as opposed to buying one for 15, 20 quid. So I'll put a link in the description. I just happened to fall on them because I was sick of buying drill bit after drill bit that just gets burnt out. So I went on eBay, I went 6 quid, sod it, I'll give it a go. Ordered them and they've been blinding bits. So every time I do a bathroom or every time I drill into tiles, I always say about these, and everybody asks where I get them from. I'll put the link in the description below. I'm not sponsored by them. I think they come from China or somewhere like that. They're 6 quid. eBay, can't go wrong. So we've drilled them holes out now, and then we can put that and that one there, get them bolted in place, and we know they are going absolutely nowhere. So we've got the pan pushed into position now. We're going to offer the cistern on the top so that we can mark where the 2 bolt points are on the back. So we'll offer it up. I've put a little flexi on there. We'll offer it up once we've made these little bolts into it, because when we put it on, we're going to have to tighten it down to get the 2 screw holes exactly where they need to go. That's the cistern on the top. So If you just ease it back to the wall and then mark, you can get a pencil in, mark exactly where we've got a screw through, drill through, screw through, and get it bolted back. So the toilet's all in now, bolted in. I've just put the cap, got the caps to put on, little screws in the side, but it's all in, connected up, piped up. I've just got to get a shroud as well for around them pipes, and I'll put the same on there. But we're now onto the basin. I've just made the tap in, straightforward enough. We all know how to make a tap in. We've got the waste now, and as everyone will know, I always bin the washers off and silicone the wastes in. It's always what I've done. I've never had a problem with it, so that's the way I like to do it. So we'll get the waste made up into this, get the pedestal in position, mark up where the basin's got to go, then we can just cut the pipes, get isolators on there, and begin fitting this basin and pedestal into position. So now with the basin made up, we'll offer the pedestal into position. Obviously the pipe work's going to be behind it, and then what we'll do, if I can put that there, we'll drop the basin on the top, and then we can offer it exactly where it's going to go. I swear these basins get heavier. I think that pedestal's got to come a little bit further forward. There's usually like a recess in the basin where the pedestal sits, but this one doesn't seem to have one. It seems to sit quite far out actually. Let me try. So what you can do is just pull the basin forwards like so. That's a little bit better. Yeah, they usually have like a ridge underneath the basin for where the pedestal sits into, but this one doesn't seem to have it, so we're just going to have to try and eye it up. I don't think that is too bad at all. Just there. So let's stand back and have a look. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. Just got to straighten that tap up a little bit. But yeah, let's get this leveled through then, mark it up, and get it bolted into position. So we've cut these tails off. We're just going to put 2 little stabs up now for 2 isolation valves to go on. And we just solder on 2 elbows. And then once the isolation valves are on, we can get them turned off, get the water on, and just test this toilet that my camera's neatly perched on top of. So let's just get them looking upright. We'll get these soldered up. There we go, give them a little bit of a wipe over, get rid of any old flux that's on it, stop it going greeny, bluey, yellow. So we'll get 2 isolation valves on there and we'll get the water back on and give it a test. So I've got 2 isolating valves on there, got the water back on, so let's now turn the water on and give it a test. So it's filling up inside here. We can adjust the height of the ball valve, fill it up and give it a bit of a check. So just tweak this Thomas Dudley ball valve on them little fittings at the side there, just wind the flow up, alter it there so it's just below the overflow on the flush valve. Yeah, that's all well and good in there. So that's the toilet done. We'll get the lid back on and we can concentrate now getting the basin bolted up to the wall. So that's the basin into position now, and as you can see, we worked out the flexes off that mixer tap work perfectly onto the top of there. So we'll just get this one on this side, straightforward enough, get it screwed up, And then, as you can see, the bottom of the trap, we'll just put an elbow into there, straight into the bottom of the S-trap. I've already said we'll get some talon covers to go over there, and that'll finish the basin off. And then we can look at getting the shower screen on, getting the shower on, and sorting the bath panel out. So that's the basin in now, connected up, the waste's connected up. As you can see down the back, I'm just going to leave it a couple of hours for the solvent to go off on the waste, while we concentrate now on the shower screen going on. So I'm going to go downstairs, grab it, unpack it, and then get it into position and see exactly how we're going to fit this curved shower screen around this bath. Right, we're onto the shower screen now. As I always say with most things, to be honest, always lay it out so you can see what fittings you've got and what fittings go where via the instructions. So as always, most shower screens measure 10 to 15 mil off the side. I've already marked it, and what I'll do, I'll put a little bead of silicone across that back edge before we silicone the rest of it, just for where this profile is going to sit. It will sit there. I've already marked it, so that will sit up right there. We'll get that bolted to the wall, and then we can begin getting the actual door on, because this one has got a couple of little cam lever fittings that go on, that as the door comes out, I think from what I can tell, it lifts up slightly, so it comes up and down onto the rim of the bath. So we'll get the profile on and then work out what's going on with the door. So that's the holes drilled down, where the profile is going to go. Now this is quite controversial. Now I personally have always put a little bead of silicone down the back edge of a profile before it's gone up, just to make sure it's sealed. But as we all know, people do things differently. That's how I do it. Plus it holds it in place. We'll get the 4 screws into it now, and then that is bolted on, and we can begin getting this door in. So we're beginning to get there now. I've just put a little chrome cover on there and a 4-inch one covering the waste. We've got the chrome caps on there. I've had to order the 1.25 one. I didn't have one in plumb base. I've just put the shower hose on and put the riser. It's just a universal riser they've got up there with an extra long hose. That's how they wanted it, just on them taps. So I'll put that all in, screens all on. What I'm going to do now is silicone around the outside, get it all siliconed up, silicone the front of the screen going up there, little beading on the back of the bath. I'll also put a little bit around the bottom of the basin around there. These bath panels are an absolute pain. So I spoke to Dave Bishop, my carpenter, who we've done the last job with, and he's going to come and fit this Monday morning for me, because I just absolutely hate them. I'd rather chuck him a few quid to come and do it, save him pulling what's left of my hair out. So let's finish getting this siliconed up. We're going to do it in white, just because I think the contrast with the bath and the tiles will work better with white. So we'll get this in and see what it looks like. As always, when you silicone, these silicone tools are an absolute must. They're like, I think, about 6-7 quid from Screwfix or Tool Station. It just gives you a little bit better of an arc on the side. So got the silicone, we'll run round, we'll get it all done and see what it looks like in a minute. Right, there we go. This bathroom is completely finished now, except for the bath panel. That, as I say, Dave is coming first thing Monday morning to fix that, because I hate bath panels. So basin's in, toilet's in, all siliconed in, nice. Bath's in, siliconed in, showers on, up there. I say that's the riser rail they wanted. They wanted it to come straight off the tap, so they've got that. Shower screen there. We've got the door to put back on, so we're not 100% finished yet. But this bathroom has been a little bit testing. Remember what we had going on behind there. This side of the room, as I said at the beginning, is going to have a door here, and they're going to have it as shelving, and all the front's going to be built up, and they're going to have a towel rail on this face here, and they'll have a little rad inside. That's what those 2 heating pipes are there for. We have got underfloor heating matting under here, but that's not going to get connected up till that boarding is done. But I think, as I've said already, there is a load of building work going on anyway out the back, so we have got another bathroom to do the other side of that wall at a later date. But this is this one as good as done. So I hope you've enjoyed the whole 4-part process. Is it 4 parts? Might even be 5, I can't remember. But the whole process of getting this bathroom in, the stress we've had of all that pipe work that was around the back and altering it, but as you can see, it looks a million times better now. So If you've liked it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that sort of jazz, and I will catch you on the next one.